But yesterday was International Human Rights Day, and we're now speaking with Dr. Ahmad Khan, who is the Deputy of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association, and he's going to tell us a little bit about International Human Rights Day, why we should celebrate it. We just sort of wonder, would you like to put us in the picture, please, Dr. Khan?
Thank you very much for having me on. As Ahmadi Muslims, we believe very strongly in human rights, and very specifically in our case, we want to highlight the importance of the right of the individual to their own religious beliefs, and there are, unfortunately, many countries around the world where Ahmadi Muslims are persecuted because of their faith, and living in this country as we do, and there are many thousands of Ahmadi Muslims who live in this country, we are extremely fortunate that we are able to practice our beliefs, we're able to profess our faith without any sort of hindrance, and without anyone stopping us from doing so. Unfortunately, the same isn't the case for many of our brethren around the world, and we think it's incredibly important to highlight that, to highlight the fact that, in fact, many religious minorities around the world, unfortunately, are persecuted and are stopped from practicing their faith.
Dr. Khan, can you explain to our readers why the Ahmadi Muslims are the ones that are sort of singled out within the Muslim community?
Of course. Now, without going into too much detail on religious dogma, as I'm sure you're aware, there are many sort of different sects within Islam, many sort of different groups, and we belong to a particular sect, a particular group that has a specific set of beliefs. The main difference between ourselves and other groups of Muslims is that we believe that as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, prophesied that there would be a Messiah who would come to revive Islam, to bring back the true Islam. We believe that person has come, and that the way in which many Muslims, unfortunately, around the world practice Islam, there needs to be a revival. And it's unfortunate that many extremist Muslims are referred to as fundamentalists, as if they practice a fundamental or basic form of Islam. Actually, we believe that we are the ones who practice the most fundamental form of Islam, and the main things that we promote are peace, tolerance, respect for every human being, and we believe that the Prophet Muhammad preached these ideas, and unfortunately many of these messages have been lost amongst the majority of Muslims around the world. And because of these differences between ourselves and other Muslims, we are persecuted in many places around the world.
Well, that's very sad. And one would have thought that nowadays, we had Protestants and Catholics against each other. We've had, Methodists and, all kinds of people with different attitudes to Christianity. But as you say, time has moved on now. We all managed to get along with each other. People can believe and think what they like, can't they? Why should one, for a set of beliefs, why should people be against each other? Just cannot understand it. Can you, Dr. Khan?
No, absolutely. And we as Ahmadi Muslims believe very much that it is an individual's right to believe what they want. It's an individual's right to practice their faith in whatever way that they want, and to believe whatever they want. And we believe that this is a fundamental tenet of Islam. It's one of the core beliefs of Islam, to actually be tolerant of everyone and each individual's faiths. And we live and work side by side with people of many faiths. And as you said, it's very unfortunate that there are some places around the world where where that isn't the case. To give you an example, in Pakistan since 1974, it has actually been enshrined in law that Ahmadis are not Muslims and that they are not allowed to profess their faith. They're not allowed to essentially go about doing the things that Muslims do every single day, praying and freely going to the mosque, and it's essentially against the law, and they can go to prison for doing those things.
So now we're talking about International Human Rights Day, and
Absolutely.
There's a human rights court, isn't there, now in sort of in existence. Is it possible for people to put cases to various governments across the world and say, surely all religions in all countries should tolerate each other? Could this not be a sort of a law, really?
Well, it is a law, and international human rights are very, very clear, and Pakistan and many other Muslim countries are signatories to international human rights. But it's just unfortunate that they don't live up to those principles. And of course, it's not our place to take a government to court, but we call upon the governments of other countries, such as the United Kingdom, such as the United States, where it's recognized very clearly that an individual's right to practice their religion is fundamental. We call upon them to call to account those governments where that is not the case, and where unfortunately Ahmadi Muslims and other minorities are persecuted because of their beliefs. Well,
Dr. Khan, this is a very unhappy situation, and let us hope that perhaps in the future the international human rights courts and countries throughout the world will actually understand that their citizens have every right to worship in whatever way they choose.
Thank you very much. If I could just say finally that Muslim countries that persecute minorities, we would like them to stop legislating on belief, essentially, and invest their time in protecting human rights and promoting peace. We believe very strongly that it's a fundamental part of the religion that we all follow as Muslims, which is Islam.
Well, thank you for telling us about that today. We'll chat with you again another time. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad Khan, the Deputy of the Ahmadi Muslim Youth Association. Bye.
Bye-bye.